Welcome to this special edition. I have a desire to really help businesses out there trying to find, attract customers, get customers. I wanted to give them 99 strategies. So I wanted to do a video version of this book, which you can still get on Amazon. But this book is brilliant. It has helped so many businesses, so many individuals, entrepreneurs. And I want to do a version that will give you a bit of a snippet in terms of what you will read in the book. What's very important is that this is a very short version, so it's about 99 slide, about 99 strategy to get customers. But for these strategies to work, there's a principle that you need to apply before you even start. I'm a founder of Free Colors, a creative branding and marketing agency. We mainly work with technology companies in the B2B space, and we count under our belt a lot of great brands. And so very lucky to do what we love. But most importantly, for these strategies to work, it is part of our DAC system, which explains why some businesses fail and some businesses achieve great success. So the part DAC stands for distinguish, attract, and convert. So the 99 strategies are part of convert. So before you even move into converting, you need to distinguish yourself for a great brand strategy and you need to attract for a great brand identity. So if you haven't done any of these two work, those strategies will not be as effective. And again, you can go back to some of my previous videos to look at how you can apply the DAC system to achieve success. But let's dive in to figure out in terms of how you can do what strategies will work for you to attract your next customers. And yeah, enjoy the journey. It's going to be long, so sit down, make sure you have a cup of tea, pause, get a cup of tea, and come back so we can watch it together. I mean, you can watch me do the talking. All right. So the first strategy of the 99 strategy to get customers is sales skills and CRM. And I think when I started my business more than 15 years ago, I never understood the importance and also the world's being sales, having sales skills and like a dirty word, trying to sell somebody, trying to convince someone something that they don't want. But I think it's so important to understand the power of having sales skills, because when you start selling for yourself, or even in a position if you are a professional in another business, you need to learn those skills. That's what will help you, achieve what you want. But I think combined with that, I put a CRM system, because there's so many great CRM systems you can start for free. HubSpot is one of them, and I can name a few. Some are more expensive than others, depending on the need. But CRM is basically your brain. You can't remember the conversation that you have yesterday, but your CRM putting an entry of information that you have about a prospect, what time you can follow up, and will help you make sure that you never miss a lead. Remember, the power sits in the follow up. I think a lot of people just think, hey, I send an email and magic will happen. No, 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 no. You should always try to follow up at least 3 times until you get an answer. It's so important, because you never know, people are busy. The inbox is full. And I speak for myself. I know my inbox is always full. I don't have time and so forth. So I need to make sure you come back on top of my inbox. Do not be afraid to follow up. This is so powerful. So really having a great sales skills to really know exactly how to approach a customer in person or online. And the second part is having a sense so you can record information so you know when to follow up and so much more. That's part of number two. Strategy number two, which is about a website that converts. And I think a lot of people sometimes design a website without really understanding the strategies behind designing it. Before you even design a website, you need to have a clear strategy in terms of what you want your website to achieve. Some people create website as a brochure format to really just get present their ideas, and some will create their website to actually convert and generate business on the platform. So, for example, our website is more of a brochure. It presents our work. People cannot buy anything on the Free Colors website, which is very different. Where my other company, my non-profit organization, has platform where people can actually make payment. So, really, it's important to decide exactly what you want people to be able to achieve, and really create the wireframe of your website before you even start designing. I always say it's always handy to look at what your competitors are doing. Doesn't mean that they're doing the right thing. Don't follow blindly. I think it's super important. But if you do so, make sure you apply the right thing. And I would say something that's so important, make sure you have a call to action above the fold. The fold is what you see while scrolling your website. So when you look at the website, there's a call to action above the fold that give people a reason to either scroll down more or you click on it. It's so important. That's for strategy number two. All right. Let's move to strategy number three. There's a big difference between a landing page and a website. As I said, a website can be used as a brochure presenting our work, what we do, and so forth. A landing page is a very, very targeted tools that you use for a specific target audience. So, for example, on our website, and I'll take myself for examples, on our website, we have landing page designed specifically for target audience. Can be insurtech technology. So we're going to create the right keywords that speak to that target audience. It's not necessarily visible on your website, Yes, it can be, most of the time it is hidden. It's on a website, or it may be a complete different platform that you use for that. This landing page is basically a sales letter, and design, especially when you're doing advertising campaign, marketing campaign, and so much more. Use that landing page to convert. Either, again, remember, the option of it is to either book an appointment, generate some leads. Again, something you have people build a database, or you want people to make an action and buy right now. So this landing page is really focused on exactly the specific target audience, and maybe a product or service that you want to sell to them. Be very specific, and if you want to use it as a way of, there's different ways of going to use it, but that's so important. Especially, this is a landing page is the equivalence of a sales letter. So really do not underestimate the power of that. All right. Let's move to strategy number 4. Strategy number 4 is e-commerce social media. Obviously, this is only applicable if you're an e-commerce era. If you're in the e-commerce industry, should I say correctly? It's very important to be active as well on social media. And again, something that if you're not using social media effectively in that phase, you might miss some leads. Let me explain it. Sometimes you go into, let's say, Instagram, and you see a very nice product, you can make the purchase straight away from that social media platform. Are you utilizing all the tools available on all the other platforms? It should be only one way for your customers to buy from you. You don't have to take them away from your website. If you can get them to buy on the actual social media platform, even better. So use that. I know, as someone who's also a consumer, as we are all, those tools work really well. So really do not underestimate that. All right. Strategy number 5, let's go. Strategy number 5 is obviously business cards. We talked about business cards. You go to a networking event, we are in 2023, things might change, obviously, in terms of how we think about business cards. You have virtual business cards, you have physical business cards, but I think it's so handy to have that at hand in case somebody say, hey, I want to connect with you. And I found myself in a situation where it's direct to LinkedIn, but it's complicated. You have to send them your email address, you have to send this. It's so hard. So what I do, even better if you have a business card, if you have just one business card, but it has a QR code, so you can give it to someone, or they could leave you, send the details. Even better if they scan the QR code and they give you their details, even better. But if you do not have that business card, is your contact tool. So we do not estimate, do not go to networking event with no tools to allow you to connect to that person straight away. So if you want to call them and email them, you have that, right? And that leads me back to what I talked about QR codes. QR codes can be used to so many different ways. It's not just for payment. QR codes can be used to present your products and so much more. If you don't have time, let's say, for example, you have a store, and your store is closed. Have a QR code. People say, "Oh, you missed us," but scan the QR code for a virtual visit of your store. Yeah. So really use those tools to always be able to allow your customers to buy from you. Again, if you combine that, you've done a virtual visit of our store, then you can pre-order and then collect your item in store. Fantastic. Okay, so really just very powerful tool. I'm moving very fast because the longer version is in the books, and we don't have much time, so I'm gonna have to give you as much as I can in a very short amount of time. If you want the full version, go to Amazon and get the book. That's the only place you can get it. Strategy number 7 is obviously SEO. SEO is so important. You cannot just create a website and hope for the best people to discover you. It doesn't work like that. That's not possible. Unless you have a very unique business. For example, my non-profit organization, Black Women Tech, is on ranked on the first page, but we did use some plugins, some SEO tools plugins. We do not have to do a lot of SEO work, but because we are so specific and so clear that there's not many competition. But if you are operating in a very saturated market like such as me, there's so many agencies, about 100,000 of agencies, you need to do your SEO. But make sure your SEO is very targeted. Don't just put branding agency. If you're a branding, don't put just branding agency. So who is your target audience? For us, it's fintech, it's B2B tech. So we go for those keywords so people can find us. Because if you don't have them targeted, you're going to have a lot of high bounce on your website, a lot of traffic for nothing. So really make sure that you have that very, very well done. Strategy number 8, online directories. I know, as much as you think that nobody go into directories, yes, most people don't go directories, but it's part of your SEO strategy. Because the more your website appear on this high-ranking website, the more you actually increase the validity and authority of your website. Don't do it, I must say I've never got any direct links from directories. We use it just for way of part of our SEO strategy. So really don't estimate the importance of getting your business registered on these online directories. Can be Google Your Business, my business, I'll never think, but Google My Business, other platform that are just yellow pages, should I say, for example, a great example of doing it. That's for strategy number 8. Let's move to strategy number 9, get Googled. Yes, get Googled. I think this word means a lot and nothing at the same time. Again, something, if you think about get Googled, that again something attached to your SEO strategy. And I talked about Google My Business, but also find ways to really just rank for the right keywords. It means that in your copy of your content, you have the right keywords. Be discoverable. What makes Google love you? If you know what makes Google to love your website, make sure you are full of a rule that they won't otherwise don't like you. Yes, if you are, for example, making a mistake of creating content with AI, you're gonna get yourself blacklisted because Google then does not like that at all, and especially if you're not using their platform. Super important. Website link. I think it's super important when you talk about website link. Website links come back to how is your website appear on different websites. For example, I'm a BBC advisor, yes, so that my frequenters will appear on their website, it will again something rise my authority. And the more thing about again like a photo showcase as your website as a spider web. How often do we find your website linked to other platforms? And the more your website is linked to authoritative websites such as I mentioned, BBC, that's what Digitopia is important, a BBC, Huffington Post, I just think about where I've been listed and so much more. It increases the authority of your website. So we'll go be like, okay, they're good. The fact that other websites rank them, we should also put them up. It means that, they can see. Remember, Google's purpose is to make sure that people find what they want. So we're not going to rank your website if you're not, or if you're trying to rank for pancake and you offer a chocolate cake. Let's be realistic about it. All right. Guest blogging. And I think it's something that we don't do, but for some people it works really, really well. Who are, if you think about your target audience, they probably need more than you. They need different experts in different area of expertise to support them. So let's say, for example, us, we need SEO experts, we need a lawyer, we need merger and acquisition. So can you guest blog and serve great content for maybe a merger and acquisition, in my case, a merger and acquisition company who does not have time to guest blog, but they want to find a way to just create some great content. Yes. So if you go into guest blogging for another platform, another company that serves the same target audience as you, again, something you can increase. And also, this is part of building great partners to build your business. Super, super powerful. It works really well. We have not used it. I used to use it when I used to run a fashion business. I used it all the time, very powerful. So trust me, over to the time sharing that their work. All right. Strategy number 12 is about email list build up. And I think people think that emails are dead, and they are not. I have built a number of businesses just on building a main list with no advertising, with no website, just newsletter, and that was it. Yes, and I just focused on your newsletter and social media. These two things, and those two things were free, very free merch. So really think in terms of how often you spend time building your mailing list. Yes. And your mailing list can be, for example, if you're using LinkedIn and I do, you will see on my LinkedIn profile there's a number of amount of people follow me or subscribe to my mailing list on LinkedIn. But again, there's dangerous way of building a mailing list on another platform because if it collapses, you lose all your contact. So always think in terms of how you can bring that to your own database so you own the data. So you think about building that. As much as you don't love it, pop it up is super important. Pop-ups, where are those pop-ups? When people come to your website, make sure they don't show up right in the first 10 seconds. Allow people to just go for this. And obviously, if they try to exit the website, these pop-ups are important. But what's important about this pop-up, they need to give people a great value asset. Why should they stay? What can you give them? Can be linked to an ebook, can be linked to something that they can purchase or have access to with secrets. Think about what you can give. Understand your audience. Let's say if you're a cookie maker, can you give him the secret recipe? I'm just giving some random example. But yes, so think about in terms of how you can use pop-up. Use them very wisely. I think there's some triggers that you can use. Don't have them pop up as soon as somebody comes in. It's annoying. I don't know. But if they scroll a little, just give them an option that's okay, you've been on a website, you like it. It can be, for example, journal mailing list again. Everything is lined up. Just think about the last time you went on Amazon. What did you do when you wanted to purchase a product? Yes, you scroll down. You scroll down, yes. People love to know before they purchase something that they're not the first one. Nobody wants to be the guinea pig in anything, right? So think in terms of how can you make sure that people can discover success stories and or what you've done. Understand your space. Again, not always strategies apply to you. If you are, I was talking to my friend who runs with an executive coach, she said we don't share our stories, and that's the nature of the business, and that's fine. Really understand your audience and you really understand how you can showcase that you are great at what you do. If success stories are relevant to you, then be it. Same thing as well, ebook are not dead. The people are still looking for some form of information. Understand your target audience. How do they like to consume information? You don't have to give them just one format. It can be audio, can be visual, can be whatever it is. The more version of what you do you can give them and provide value, the more chance you have them of converting into a customer. The same thing if you are special 16, which is a white paper, if you want to create a much more deeper focus on a topic that you can then share that with journalists for them to use that when they write copy about a topic, then use that. Understand your expertise and how you position yourself as a leader in this space by challenging or maybe writing some research information and into a white paper and distribute that to different of media so we can use that in the article writing. Super powerful as well. Again, something infographic. If you think about Google search, most people about Google search from the point of view of content, yes, but what about written content? But what about visual content? People, I know, for example, I love to search just because it's my style. I like to also look at visuals. Again, something like if you're not giving in the text copy, why don't you also explore in the copy version? Pinterest is brilliant for that. Again, I'm not giving examples, but in terms of writing an infographic, can you explain, services or maybe a methodology, or let's say, for example, how to successfully develop a brand into a visual format and put it out there, and it's easy to share. Remember that people want to share it. This is valuable. It is not attached just to you. And if people feel they're getting something out of it that they want to share, they will use that a lot. Video tutorial. Are you creating a product that people do not understand? Is that everybody get a high level of return, or people don't understand how to use the technology? Video tutorial are so powerful, especially just to debug the preconceived ideas people may have about your services. So really, really do not estimate the power of doing video tutorials, and it's so key, especially when you create something new, people are not used to that all the time. It's not just for your existing customers, but also people that, okay, let us show you. You think that creating video takes forever? We're going to show you how you can create a video in 30 seconds. I'm just giving some example. Are you, for example, in the business? Let's say we talked about the leadership coach before. You have people want to work with you across the world, but you can only work in London, or maybe you are just one person. I'm giving an example. Why not start to transform, multiply yourself with online course? Again, that online course can also be an appetizer to what you do. It's a good way to just start with that online course. You can make it free or make it or people to charge for it, as an easy way to learn about your expertise and why what you do matters. Okay, so it's very important to think in terms of how you can also attract customers and upgrade them to bigger and bold services with an online course. Same thing, I think, people call often, let's say, Flavilla, you are always, how do you do that? You're always available as well. Most of the content I write is already automated. Not always, but sometimes it's automated because I want to give an impression that I'm always visible. Yes. So automate your emails. If you are, for example, I think it's so important that when you build your mailing list that you email your audience regularly, because if you don't, you're going to lose them. So make sure that you email, for example, in my case, for some of we email people once a week. It's only 52 emails. It's not a lot if you think about it. And you can tell me, like, if you're lazy, you can use some of the AI tools out there to help you write your copy. Obviously, your copy has to be relevant to what they are after, helps to validate as well what you're doing in your business, and so much more. Decide what you want to talk about, but make sure that you use automated emails, especially when somebody join on board your subscribe to a newsletter. You can create a series of emails for them to sign it on board. Especially if you are e-commerce business, this is so powerful. Make that happen. And again, I can't talk about it. I think I mix the two, like between the newsletter and the automated emails. So your automated emails are very much like you're onboarding somebody, you're going to send a series of emails, and obviously you have a newsletter that you could send on a weekly basis. Do that. I think super for minimum once a month. Yeah, so no less than that. This is very important. You probably heard of the approach for strategy number two, which is the try period. Yes, so try period. It's a bit of a freemium. It's so powerful. I think this is how Spotify got me. They put me on the try period, and I loved it so much. And I started creating my playlist, and I was hooked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't go into iTunes and go somewhere else. It's just a nightmare, right? To just do your same playlist. So trial is a good way for people to really test and get hooked on what you do, and then it become part of their lifestyle, I guess. And then after that, it's really hard to say no. If they love it, if they tested it, you know that they're gonna need you for more than 2 weeks, then give it to them. It's a good way for them to really buy without the pressure of saying, I don't like it, right? Giveaways, I think it's so important as well in terms of really showcasing that you're good at what you do, especially if you have a tangible product, giveaway samples and so much more. Like, you launch a new cream, people don't know, they don't want to spend nine, think about crème de la mer, yeah? Super expensive range, and if they do a combination, they invite very influential female entrepreneurs and give them some samples of their product. They like it, they test it for 2 weeks. Like, oh my gosh, it's definitely worth the money. Why not? Yes, super powerful. I will talk about version number four, which is probably one of the tools that I use and I loved it a lot in terms of also building myself. As I mentioned at the beginning, I worked in fashion, I worked in oil and gas, and I've moved, found myself in technology a few years ago. And obviously, I didn't have a massive network into that space. And that's why it was important for me to build my network. And a very effective way to build my network was to really have some of the potential prospects into my podcast and having conversation about my business, really understand what they are, really also help myself build my authority. And it doesn't have to be super complicated to create a podcast. There's a lot of tools right there that helps you do that very, very effectively. So really encourage you to do that as often as you can. So really just figure in terms of how you can launch a podcast. There's tools such as Zencaster, you use Buzzsprout to host your platform, and then the rest. When you post on Buzzsprout, your hosting platform, everything gets dispatched on all the Spotify, iTunes, da, 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 and so much more. And you just have to be consistent with it because if you're not consistent with it, then you're gonna waste a lot of time. Right? Section number five, Facebook business page. Again, something Facebook is not for me because I'm more B2B businesses, and obviously businesses I work with us tend to spend 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. So therefore, that's not my audience. My technology companies, my B2B companies are on Facebook. But if you are, for example, protecting moms or whatsoever, you need to be on Facebook. Yes, a lot of people are making money on Facebook right now. So can you. And I think adding to that, which is a great combination, is Facebook private group. When you have now built your audience and you've attracted them, keep on maintaining a community. I think I talk a lot about in some of my previous presentation about the power of building a tribe with audience. Bring them together, let them interact with one another, and they're most likely to stay with you. And so really just be as active as you can, which is super powerful. Again, simply stay in the Facebook vibe. If you are selling tangible product, this Facebook marketplace, people buy a lot. I have a friend who bought a car on Facebook marketplace just to show you what you can sell out there. So if you feel that it's very useful for you, it does not might not be as useful if you're, for example, a vintage brand. Might use Facebook Marketplace as a tool for you. Yeah. Twitter, again, something probably one of the underdog in terms of advertising. Most people use it for conversation. But if you know that your audience is using Twitter, for example, if you are in blockchain, no, sorry, blockchain, if you're in crypto, if you are in NFT, Twitter is your space. For example, I'm giving you an example, so really know where your audience is. So in this case, Twitter works for you. For me, I use Twitter as a Flavilla of the brand. I use Twitter more as an interaction with what I do. If I was using for my business, it's not my place. I know LinkedIn works much better for me. So really understand that not all tools that I'm presenting are relevant for you. Again, something like if you are visible, tangible products, Pinterest is your baby, it's your mommy. Because you know that what's important about that is that Pinterest, that photos that you post on Pinterest ranks really well on Google, near Google Images. So very important to tag your photo very well, description and so much more. And more people will tag and pin your images, the more you increase your reachability. As people sell a lot on Pinterest. It's probably one of the tools that is still under perceived. And I know it's against the audience is very moms in of a certain age, moms and women and so much more who are looking for a visual, but visual inspiration leads to also business. Instagram for business. Again, I think Instagram have done very well as well in terms of becoming the tool for e-commerce. Like if you are a fashion brand, if you are a beauty brand, this is your place that you definitely want to be there because they're conversion very well. SlideShare, and I think SlideShare is one of the platforms that is more for B2B. If you are a business to business, SlideShare is also your baby. SlideShare belongs to LinkedIn. And it's a great platform to, for example, if you do a presentation and you want to share it on SlideShare, why not? You'll be very surprised. And I think TikTok is probably one of the platforms that I always say I would never find myself into this, and I lied, and I did. And I actually find it very, very, very good in terms of helping you find everything that you want, but also with the FYP page, which you can discover other individuals, which I really, really recommend to check. And again, something I only purchased stuff on Facebook, on TikTok, which work really well. And so yeah, so it does work. So again, something like if you have a tangible product, it can be good. Tangible or non-tangible, or sending an online course, or you have an app, or you have a platform worth trying. All right. So then LinkedIn profile page, again, same thing. LinkedIn profile page is brilliant. Again, if you are connected with me, if you're not connected with me, send me a message, personalized note, so I know what you come from the YouTube video. And LinkedIn has been my tool to generate business, and I've been using it for years and work really well. Hence why I have such a large following right now, and I really, really love it. But LinkedIn is so powerful. So if you're not on LinkedIn and you're selling to B2B businesses, you have to be change your mind about this. It's interesting because you may also have LinkedIn page business, and I think LinkedIn page for business has to be different. It's not about you. It's more about the business. So think about how you're using your LinkedIn page to attract talent. So you're really going to focus more on culture. Are you using your LinkedIn page to focus on educating your audience about technology or your product or your expertise and so much more? Think about doing something, do benchmark, look at how your audience is using it, and you can do as well. Super important. All right. Coming back to YouTube, we're on YouTube right now, so which is very powerful. YouTube is still a great place for long form content, which I'm doing right now. If I was doing this video on TikTok or Instagram, it would be shorter. This one can be as long as possible, as long as I want, because that's what people like. People are comfortable with very long form content. So really don't be afraid to share and give advice like I'm doing right now. It doesn't hurt me. And obviously people should decide to work with you, then they will anyway. So really do that. Reddit, again, super powerful in terms of something finding your tribe, using this tool as well. I've been working for a lot of people. It's also, if you want to create a trend, Reddit is your place. All right. Let's talk about Cora. A lot of people are maybe asking questions about your expertise. Can you be the one responding at that? Why not use Cora to use that and help you find your next customers who are maybe struggling to find the answer that they want? I think this is one of the strategies that is not often used, especially not in B2B, but social influencer. I'm a social influencer in the B2B space myself, but we know them mainly in the B2C space. So people selling like cosmetics or fashion clothes or whatsoever. So social influencing works really, really well. If you use it, I would say to you that make sure that you have a strategy in place so you don't end up wasting a lot of money and not having any traction. So do very, very well. So you work with the right people. And again, something we talked about blog forum, you can post, there's other platforms that are just blog focus. And again, something it's really great. I think about the intertwine of the spider web of SEO. So use that as well to make sure that you reach your target audience. Just if your website is not ranking there yet, use those platforms to get a bigger reach out there. Ooh, it's funny because sometimes what always surprises people say, "Oh, I want to appear in BBC, I want to appear in Forbes." I say, "Okay, which journalist should you speak to?" And people can't give me a name. I'm like, "Okay." So maybe the first thing you need to start with is like identify the journalists that are interested in what you do. When you identify the journalists in what you do, then you can be more targeted in approaching them so they can decide to post or share an article or write an article about your business. Remember, don't sell your business, you're selling a story. So when you go to journalists, make sure that you have a great reason. So again, something like advertising in newspaper is not dead. Some people, depending on your audience, newspaper works really, really well as well. If you are trying to reach out people in the financial sector and you have a new fintech tool, why not apply for this? This is super effective. And again, radio, again, something if you think radio is for you, if you think that pay on not BBC One because they don't advertise, but if you think on Capital FM or something else, you think that your audience is listening to it. This is why this is still a bit of radio advertising. We understand that when it comes to radio advertising, it's not a cheap exercise. And in the book itself, I explain how expensive each of these strategies are. Some of them are literally low price, some of them are zero, some of them are very high price. Video advertising is one of those expensive ones because you have to do it for a long time, at least 3 months, 6 months to really see a return on investment. Same thing for online magazine. Online magazine is well as popular as normal magazine. Again, something like look at all the people who are creating some great content for your target audience and just so. I think one thing that you've seen me is funny part of playing the game and winning the business space. People love winners. Yes, people love winners. If you know the winners, yes, I feel more comfortable winning, working with you. So in a word won't necessarily give you direct customers, but it will validate your credibility. So, oh wow, okay, so you've won in a award from this company, this category. Fantastic. I should definitely work with you. Another approach to Surgery 45, which is celebrity clients, which is super, super key. It's like having a celebrity clients can open so many doors. And again, it really depends where you work. If your celebrity client is looking for privacy, do not advertise without their authorization. You don't want to put yourself in trouble. But if your celebrity clients, there's a brand that I love called Slutty Vegan. You should check it out. It's really good. And Slutty Vegan, with a name which was very cheeky and very sassy, became a multi-million pound business. And she all started by just having a van. She was selling vegan burgers in the van, but it was so nice. And what she did was very clever as well. She was getting next to movie set to sell a salty vegan burger. And you can see people like Justin Timberlake, should I say, eating a burger. And obviously she became a sensation. And now she also has stores and you have people queuing outside. So really think how you can leverage celebrity clients to come to a store. You see, sometimes you go to an Italian restaurant, they have this black and white photo of celebrities who come to the restaurant. It gives so much validity to know that this was a chair where Elvis Presley was sitting and so much more. I think part of, this is part of marketing test, and I talk about that because this is a strategy on its own. Test, test, test. Anything that you do not spend 25,000 for actually testing which strategy work. Like if you launch an advertising campaign, you don't do one copy test. You do one version test, another version test. So you should always have an A/B test to make sure that it works really well. And that brings me back to strategy number 47, which is Google AdWords. Google AdWords is coming via pricing. Yes, if you don't do the targeting very well. So really, for example, Google AdWords for advertising agency, oh my gosh, it's like £20 a click. Yes, imagine someone clicking and just like a small entrepreneur, you just wasted £20, and that your budget can go really, really fast. But again, it still works. So you have to make sure that you work with specialists. This is another expensive strategy, but if you think that it is important for you to get customers quick and you don't have the patience of SEO, because SEO, beating your SEO takes time. But if you want to do it faster, then that works really well. Promotional incentives, again, something like, if you have, there's so many reasons: Valentine's Day, Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year, New Me, blah, blah, and so forth. People give a reason people to just buy from you now, those timed promotional incentives. Yes. So what can you use if you're a business such as like Apple and this doesn't work for you? Then definitely ignore strategy number 48. Let's move to retargeting ads. I think that's so important. Like when you have somebody coming to your web, coming to your ads, are you retargeting them on other social media platforms? This is so powerful. Again, something. It takes more than one touch point for people to add to buy from you. Seven touch points for people to buy from you. So if they come on Facebook, are you retargeting them on Instagram? Are you retargeting them on TikTok and so much more? So you think in terms of how you can make sure that you don't lose them. Again, same applies to Facebook advertising. Again, something I've done Facebook advertising, which is very interesting. But if you target very well and your ad is performing well, your thing will drop. Cost of conversion, cost per click will drop. But if it's not converting well and the conversion is really high, boom, it goes really high. So Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising and even podcast advertising. I think one thing that's super interesting is that people create podcasts and hope for the best. It's like, hey, I create a podcast, people want to discover it. Like, that's not how it works. No, that's not how it works. You actually need to, if you want to be a full-time podcast advertiser, really invest some money into this. Very important that you actually create a banner, find of I know that iTunes doesn't allow with this, or Spotify, but there's other platforms that allows you to advertise. So really think in terms of how you can advertise. And same thing for Twitter advertising. Twitter advertising works really well against something if your audience is active onto this. Coming to the expensive method, which is TV advertising. If you have a budget, do it, because it's an entire production. You need an agency, you need so much more, and so God knows. If you're a small business, you don't have the energy to buy your own, you create your own website, and you think, I'm just going to do on Amazon and I'm going to do, that works really well, then Amazon is your baby. It's really, really well. Same thing as eBay or Amazon pay per click. I think Amazon, there's two different things between Amazon, just having a product on Amazon, and having pay per click. Again, something the same way applies for using Google and using Google advertising. Depends how fast you want to go. And you see sometimes some of the sponsored products and so forth. This is what Amazon pay per click is about. So really understand what it's about. If you say, I want to go build, I want to go big, I want to go bold, Flavilla, go for it. Billboard is your best friend. Again, something, figure out exactly if you know that your target audience is a driver, yes, and the driver is in a certain area, or if you are a plumber who will looking to target people in this certain area, make sure that your billboard is the right place. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money. It's super important, but it works really well if you do it well. LinkedIn prospecting as well. So another tool, you know that LinkedIn is obviously free most of the time, but you have additional tools such as Sales Navigator, which is brilliant. So now to build your campaigns and so much more. Use it very well. I think if you just with some limitation, if you are serious about attracting your customer for LinkedIn, I would highly advise to get Sales Navigator as an additional tool, which is super great to just go faster in sending emails to people who are not connected to and so much more. So really just let me do that. Taxi advertising. Taxi advertising is something that is very interesting, whether you have a tangible product or whether you have a non-tangible product. Think about campaigns such as Pretty Little Things, think about campaigns such as, nothing has come to my mind, but yes, so there's a lot of companies do that. And again, something, if you know that your audience is always in the city and around, then this is your baby. This is your choice for strategy number 60. We're almost there. We're 2061, which is Let's Spin the Wheels. Let's Spin the Wheel is actually a plugin that you can have on your website. And we talked about gamification. Again, something gamification, if you think that you want to give an incentive for your visitors or maybe your existing customers to be more playing around, so you can create a wheel like that, say, okay, every time people spin, I want them to win at least 20% so we can purchase something right now. Again, something a great way to activate faster. I've loved this technique. I haven't used it myself, but I've seen people use it and very, very well. Handwritten sales letter. I think when you written, I can't remember the last time I received a handwritten letter itself. I think there's something so personal about a handwritten sales letter. There's companies out there who are specialized in doing so, and you can use it as well for yourself. So highly advise to try it. Maybe if you have one or two customers that you want to try and you want to send them a handwritten sales letter, why not? Because you're most likely to open it and also feel the reciprocity to respond to you because you took the time to actually write the letter in writing. Deal website. We're talking about Groupon. We're talking about lastminute.com and so much more. If you have a massive amount of stock and you don't know how to get rid of it, or even cheaper, if you don't have the stock and you just want to make sure that people can, you want to do drop shipping, Deal website is your baby as well. So just think about that. I think in terms of building as well relationship with your customer, it's so important to know their birthday. I love to send birthday presents to my clients, and do a reminder, take them for dinner or lunch or whatsoever. This is so key. Like use birthday again present, birthday, give them a voucher. There's a lot of platforms, a lot of companies that will do this very well. Like nothing comes to my mind, trust me. So many things from such as Body Shop, Lint as well. You know that if you go to Lint and they have your birthday, they give you a little bit of a box of chocolate and so much more. Sarajin 65. You might wonder what charity is into this, but I think charity plays an important part. Part of success for your business, and if you're in a position that you have achieved success and you want to grow more, it's also by giving back. And I put charity and non-profit falls into back of that as well. So how you align yourself, when you think about if you're operating in a very busy market and your audience is looking for a way to choose you, and there's so many people who do exactly as same thing as you want to find a way to really speak to their heart by your ability to also align with the charity that they also like. So think in terms of how you can align to a charity that maybe be close to your target audience and at the same time serve and help a community or charity or non-profit. So number 66, which is we talked about flyers and catalogs. Obviously, if you're opening a new store, let's say you're opening a new pizza place, a vegan pizza place in the neighborhood, well, it's time to send some flyers in the neighborhood, yes, so we can discover with a special offer and so much more. Or if you are launching again, example, you're launching a new fashion collection with 20 pieces every season, then a catalog that really present with a nice, beautiful presentation of your work, which validate why people should buy from you. I think what's important is to think in terms of think where your competitors are not and how can you really just win in this channel. Yeah, most people now don't think that tangible things are relevant, but if you do something really, really nice, people do definitely pay attention. Merchandising, and I think 60 Cent merchandising is such a good way to carry your brand, get your brand so much scale and visibility. Yes, think people just do umbrella, put an umbrella, put it, water bottle, notepad, whatsoever. Somebody sees your brand every day. If you have a notepad and see your brand every day, more likely to remember you. Yes, so think in terms of what can you give your customer, what can you give prospects, at the exhibitions, exhibition event, and so much more that will give them a sense. Oh yes, I remember I met so and so at this brand and they can give this beautiful thing. Make it useful. Don't make something that they're not gonna use again. I think what's also very useful if you are targeting people who have children, do not forget to do merchandising that actually is for also children, like teddy bear and so much more, cars or whatever it is that is most likely to be in the hand of your children every day, and therefore your prospect will see it as well. Cold calling is not dead if it's done very, very, very well. I think that's something it is it's done. It can still work. It's probably less popular now, but definitely worth looking into this. Cold calling is not dead. And again, I feel like very important to actually build. And I think part of the strategy 69 is to build your sales funnel. How do you have clarity in terms of how your customers can get to you? That sales funnel is your sales machine. If you just hope for the best and pray that they come for you, you haven't built your sales funnel. So people come here. What happens there? What's the situation A? If you do this, what happened now? Take the time. It sounds so painful to do. If you take the time to do that well, you're most likely to know exactly where, for example, are you wasting money in this sales strategy? Are you should spend more money in this other strategy and so much more. Yes, so really evaluate what works well for your brand. And that comes back as well to affiliate marketing, which is attached to obviously social influencer and so much more. If you're a fashion brand or beauty brand, those affiliate programs, or even if you have a course works really well. Let's think about someone who has your target audience and you launch a new course. Yes, you can give them an affiliate link, and every time let's say they give you give them 30%, then you get 30%. That's not a bad deal, So I really advise to do that, and some people do a lot of that when they launch courses. Kind of loyalty program. I think it's something important that we should reward your customers or clients, the more they buy from you. It's a different way of doing a loyalty program. It doesn't have to be like a point system. When my sister used to work at the Cannes Festival, and I'm not going to name the name, this brand, very well-known brand, would send the clients into to Cannes with their wife. It's a special thing that they would do every year, and it's amazing. And that would be a great reason to buy for this client to spend 500,000 on their brand every year and take them to Cannes with their wife. It's a unique experience that you want to buy. So your loyalty experience and program can be very different and targeted to your audience. The more your clients spend with you, the more you should make that loyalty program much more special. And then referral marketing, again, referral marketing doesn't have to be complicated. Do you have a system in place when your customer recommend you? Do you give them a discount for recommendation or give them a commission or whatever it is? I know, for example, if you're a lawyer, that doesn't work, but how do you have what kind of referral program do you have in place if it works for your business? Do not underestimate that. 73 is your employees. Your employees are also a great way to find your next. And I think I say that all the time. Everyone should be able within the business to attract customers, whether it is my EA, whether it is my graphic designers, whether it's my marketers, my strategists, and so much more. Everybody has a power and should be rewarded for that. So really think in terms of what kind of employee customer acquisition program you can put in place to get your employees to also be part of doing a business. And I think it's so important when you share with them the why, it's just, why you do what you do, they'd be more likely to actually recommend you and maybe be active on social media to talk about your brand. Sales representative. Sometimes I've seen businesses who do not have any sales rep. I would say be very careful about this. When it comes to hiring, and again, talk from my own personal example, I've hired a salesperson who had no idea how to sell to other agency. So you have to understand exactly, can you have this person substitute you very well? When you have find that person who has agency background, markets agency sales background, then it makes the work very easy. So really think in terms of, is it a time now to being a sales rep or not? Sometimes it works for some business, sometimes it doesn't work. Sales rep are not the only role that allows you to bring business. And again, if all employees are able to do it, even better. Growth hacking sounds like such a big word that means nothing. Yes, I'll give you an example. Think about when Dropbox launched the business. What did they do? You get a few, and they were one of the first burn on a cloud base, on a cloud era. And they said, well, if you want to use cloud, if you want to use more space, recommend us to so and so forth. And every time somebody sign up, we give you more space. That's what I call by growth hacking. What kind of growth hacking strategy you can put in place to help your existing customers or your existing tribe to get you more customers and they both win-win. Yes, something as well Uber did, like you get a voucher, you share a voucher, you get a voucher. But that's this growth hacking. It works really well. Door-to-door sales sounds so old-fashioned. Yes, it's been, I should tell you something. I used to do door-to-door sales and it was really, really hard. And it's one of the type of job that you pay, it's zero pay, it's commission based only, and I did it for 2 weeks. I couldn't survive any longer. But if you're in a place that, if you think that your audience is easier reachable by for door-to-door sales, then be my guest, apply it. I put it out there because for some companies, they still do it and it works really, really well. Retail distribution, again, something I think is something that is often overlooked. Retail distribution in terms of what is your strategy to not just buy sell from your store? Are you able to find, is it TK Maxx? Not necessarily you should do TK Maxx. I'm giving different examples of where you can find ways to increase your. My friend, for example, she has her own luxury stationery and she sells in different retailers, and it's so powerful to just also not have your own style sales store but also save yourself from additional stock that you don't need to hold. You sell, bulk, give you that freedom to not have to worry about stockage, data, and so much more. So again, something is not for everyone, but it definitely applies. It works. Brand ambassadors, these people who love your brand out there and they just want to scream and want to tell everybody about it. Should you consider having a brand ambassador program? I know I have one and it works really, really well. People are just in love with the brand and want to be able to talk about it and also at the same time raise their profile. Think in terms of how can you make a win-win situation for both of you. It doesn't have to be just for one. Part of that is what it says, strategy 79, which is partnership. Partnership is so powerful. It's very easy to think about your partner. If you think about the channel of your prospect, they need more than just you. Yes, think about it, they need, in my case, they will need SEO, website developers, they're gonna need um, videographer, they're gonna need lawyers, they're gonna need IP. So all of these people are my partners, and I bring them part of my ecosystem. So the way I sell my clients is like, you don't have to worry about all of these things because I've already said to people who have expertise in your field, who can give you the right results, and you don't have to worry about anything else. That you give me peace of mind. Yeah. So you can also use that. And again, something you work in two ways where if you decide to do like exclusive partnership where we don't work with anybody else, up to you how you want to do it. Or you open to it so you can have more than one lawyer, more than one, videographer, depending on what they want. Yeah. Joint venture, and I think that's one of the avenues that people don't think about necessarily. Joint venture. Whoever against something like, can you merge with my case? Can I merge with a web design company and do a joint venture to really attract more of their customer? Yes, and they also attract more of our customer. We talked about the business ecosystem. This is very simple, very attached to the partnership journey. How can you create an ecosystem around your business so when people buy from you, they know that they're getting more than what you offer. You also provide them the right network, the right partners, right experts, should I say, who will work with them. I think, as much as we've gone into this hybrid work or remote work, co-working space is also an excellent way to get customers. I know I get a few of my customers because I'm sitting in a co-working building. But again, it's so good to, if you think about this environment just for creatives, or whatever and so forth, whatever places that maybe you should hang around in the co-working space, and have conversation. You never know, your next customer might be sitting in this room. So why not? Product placement, again, something product placement is used. Yeah. Let me say it this way. When you watch a movie, do you see the product placement? Yes, sometimes no. Coca-Cola, some of the brands are very good at this. I think one of the most obvious one was one of the James Bond. It was so obvious, it was everywhere, from the car to the laptop and so much more. Sometimes it can be quite subtle but also very powerful. The beautiful thing about product placement, if a movie is a blockbuster, that's great for your brand. If your movie is a flop, that's a very expensive investment that didn't pay off. When I started my business, I never was afraid, and I was a bit of a jack of all trade, but I knew that what was important was to network. So what I did, I joined as many trade industry and chamber of commerce to really find as many people I can network with to find my partners, my existing customers. Now I'm much more targeted in terms of where I network because I have clarity. But again, when you start, you just maybe you want to get as much risk as possible. So really do not underestimate the power of joining trade industries so you can find people who recommend you as well and so much more. Mobile gaming. I've been thinking, what does mobile gaming does into this? Again, same thing. Really understand who is your target audience. If your target audience are gamers, why not also advertise or maybe do a collaboration with gaming industry to really have your project integrated into the gaming itself, which is so powerful. You understand like the gaming industry itself is one of the is biggest than the music industry on its own. And I think it's another industry, but I can't remember. So really do not estimate the power of gaming. We talked about community. Yes, community. How do you see your customer? I talk about this all the time. Do you see your customer as just a transaction or do you see customer as a community? When was the last time you brought all your customers together? Think in terms of how you can create a community around your brand and really create a reason for them to not let go of you and just think that, oh, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Again, Sophie, remember I told you that I've launched a number of businesses without budget. One of the strategies that I've done was to run events on a monthly basis. And I bought events and I give us an opportunity for me to talk about what I do and so much more. So really important to think in terms of how can, as much as we love living in this world of hybrid as we say and so much more, we do not underestimate the power of running events. People, nothing will beat in-person meeting, so really do that. Exhibition, we probably know one of the most famous brand. We have it in our office, Puka. Puka is such a great tea brand, yes, and they focus highly on exhibition, and it paid off very, very well for them. So, do you need to exhibit? Is your product needs to be seen and seen in action by your customer? Does your audience does your prospect love to spend their time in exhibition? So, you think in terms of how you can present your business in the most effective way. And again, that attached to event sponsorship. You say, Flavilla, I don't have the energy to run my own event. Well, I'm going to sponsor this event because that's the easiest way for me to reach my customer. So really think in terms of how you can align to that as well in so much more. Attached to those events, sponsorship is also specific sports events. A great way to bring your customers and bring your employees together. And align them together. I guess I mean it's really part of not just customer acquisition, but also building, a culture for your business, like you care about them, and so much more. So really do not estimate that. And that comes back to those annual celebration, Christmas party. Again, are you doing Christmas party with your employees only, or you do Christmas party when you invite some of your clients, and so much more. It's okay. We're in this era of people one are looking for more way of connecting, so don't be afraid of using that. Against something conferences are very, very powerful. Against something like go to conference. When's the last time you network? I network all the time. I go to conference at least once a month. Very important to just meet some of your peers and have conversation or meet some of your customers that you'll be very surprised. Some very good conferences that you pay or not pay for it. So really do not underestimate the power of attending conferences to meet your next customer. And obviously, relevant to this, it's very fun, very interesting. When you write a book, people you really elevate your authority. This book was never designed to actually become a very source of revenue. It was really a source of validating my authority. And then again, to feel like, are you waiting to write your book? Yes. In my case, I couldn't be bothered to just go publish. I released it for Facebook, so I did very quickly in less than 4 months. I released the book and I put it on Amazon directly, and Amazon is the only place where you can get this book. But if in terms of working, if you get a book deal, even better, make yourself happy. Again, something webinars is such an excellent way to really connect with your audience and maybe share a value point or a knowledge piece or whatsoever, or maybe use that as a part as well, mixed with demonstration of your product and so much more. Do not underestimate the webinar. Make sure you have a good quality. If you have a great speaker as well, we do that all the time. If you have great speakers, people will always attend. So really do not estimate the power of that. Speaking, I do that all the time. All the time. It's so powerful. And I always say to people like, that speaking is probably one of the scariest things people have in mind. But if you think about speaking in the way of, you can speak to one person in a room or you can speak to 5,000 in one go. What do you prefer? Speaking is so good, and I do it all the time because I love it. I mean, I'm one of those persons that becomes Sasha Face when I'm on stage. But really just use it as a way of attracting your next customer. Let's talk about, I'm gonna drop my mic. Let's talk about mentorship. What does mentorship does in there? Mentorship is so important because when you think about mentorship, who are the people that have achieved success out there and can help you get there? The journey to success doesn't have to be lonely, and sometimes you have to be a bit cheeky. And I always tell people like the best way to find your mentors is to take them from lunch, take them for lunch, take them for breakfast. So if you think in terms of who are the people that you have highly regard and you would love them to be your mentor so they can help you along your journey to success. So don't be for everybody as mentor, it doesn't matter, and post sponsor and so much more. People talk about sponsor, but that's also another avenue to look at. 97 strategy, almost there. 97 strategy, which is pre-launch and project building. I think that's something that I do all the time because what's the point of spending so much money to launch a business that you're not even sure people are going to like? It's a great way to really build. And I always say, like, if you are a cupcake company and you want to have 20,000 people waiting outside before you launch a business, this is a trick. Yes. Also, a good way to save some money. I've started businesses just a waiting list or just building list. So it's so powerful because it gives you that confidence that your work is going to work, but also it allows you to refine your offer. So you think, okay, well, I'm starting with, I can see most people don't like this product, I'm going to take it out. I'm doing this, I can see most people don't like this or like this, I'm going to increase the stock on this. Yes. And what you can do in the back of that, you can do pre-sale. So that pre-sale money allows you, give you cash flow that you need for your business or invest or cash flow for you for investing and so much more. Yes, and hiring your team as well. Private clubs exist for one reason: to help you connect people who share the same space, the same values, should I say, same values, and so much more. So yes, so whatever clubs that you can do, you might think, oh, it's expensive. I don't spend £1,000 a year for this, but you never know. A lot of things happen in those private clubs. Sometimes I always say that being good at what you do is not sufficient. You need to have access to the right network, and you can find them in those private clubs. My last one, strategy number 9, which is table for six. I invented this one. I like this. Table for six basically is the right number of people that you can have at your table of partners to have a fair exchange of opportunities. Table for six. So think about what are the six people who share the same target audience as you, and you can invite for dinner and exchange ideas and exchange opportunities, and together you make magic together. So table for six is my super super strategy, and this is it. This is the end. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing this. This was a very short version of that book. But if you like it, make sure you comment it. Remember that those strategies only work if you have done the brand identity very, very well before you go out there and sell to your business. Yes, and if you want to find out more, visit Free Colors website, and we pleasure to help you. So that's it. See you very soon.